Double header T20 Cricket World preview. Cricket World Cup preview, Kev. For Sunday, we've got a separate video for the first match, which is the South Africa game. But now we are coming back again with Pakistan against Bangladesh and Zimbabwe against India. The first one is going to be kicking off at 4 a.m. UK time, and it's going to be from Adelaide. And say Pakistan, Bangladesh. This will effectively be a dead rubber if the result of the other game goes in South Africa's favour. But potentially it could be all on the line for Pakistan.
And indeed Bangladesh, yeah.
Oh, I forgot Bangladesh. I keep forgetting Bangladesh.
Obviously, Bangladesh would have to win by an absolute landslide because of their narrow defeat the other day. But, I mean, the way this tournament's going, you can't absolutely rule anything out, can you? But, yeah, you're right. If South Africa do lose to the Netherlands, we don't expect it to happen. We made that pretty clear in the other podcast. But if they do lose, then Pakistan, you're in England's boat. You win, you're in. And
we know the forecast for Adelaide is pretty damn good for this match. So it's the second match after the South Africa game, of course. So it will be on the used pitch as such. So Pakistan, I mean, what can you say about this team, Kev? They're very much enigmatic. I said, didn't I, the other day, we didn't actually do a preview for Pakistan, South Africa, because you were on your sick bed. I said, you watch them win this game. And, of course, lo and behold, they did. They did it with the Duckworth-Lewis, of course. But, I mean, look, which version of them is going to show up? We just don't know.
No, we don't. I mean, the one thing you'd have to say is there's an element of bad luck about their campaigners in it. They should have beat India. They beat India, I don't know, 24 times out of 25, probably even more than that. 16 off the last over. Was it 28 needed off the last 8 balls? Something stupid like that. They win that game so many more times than they lose it. And if they won that game, all of a sudden they go into this game knowing that a win puts them through. So they're going out. I think we all agree that they're going out. But it's just one ball either way, and they'd have been through. Even in the Zimbabwe game, the one run away from forcing a super over, they win the super over, they're going through with a win here. So it's just been one of those campaigns. It's going to end here, but it could have been so different for Pakistan. It really could. So in terms of which Pakistan's going to turn up, I would imagine the Pakistan that plays South Africa are going to turn up. Purely because I don't think they did a huge amount wrong in the 2 games that they lost. But you can't lose 2 games in this tournament and go through. It's just not the way that this tournament's set up.
Bangladesh, I thought they were going to end up winning that game against India last week. But the rain, it looked like it was going to come at a perfect time for them, but they had to go back out on the field and they ended up losing. Close one, Duckworth-Lewis. But it's quite remarkable that they've kind of kept themselves so alive in this campaign, Kev, because I know you don't really rate them that much. And, it looks like that 3-1 price on them there might not be big enough.
No, I don't think it is big enough. I mean, how unlucky were they the other day? I mean, like you say, when the rain came, they're well ahead on Duckworth-Lewis. Then they've got to go out and seemingly get an impossible chase. Obviously, they lose a wicket, second ball after the resumption from a run out of a bloke slipping over in the wet conditions, which they didn't want to play in. To be fair to Bangladesh, they've not made too much of a fuss about that. They're every bit entitled to make a fuss. And then, of course, there was controversy about Virat Kohli and the fake fielding. Should have been a 5-run penalty. How many runs did they lose by? 5 runs. So, Bangladesh were done up like kippers in that one, weren't they? So, no credit to them. I hold my hands up. I've got them wrong. Their seam attack has been so much better than I thought they'd be in this tournament. And they found a couple of batters to come good at the right time. They'll probably need more than 2 batters against this Pakistan attack to come good, particularly on this ground. Short, square boundaries. As we've said, there's a semi-final here, so they're likely to be playing on the side of the square to keep that middle pitch fresh for the semi-final. So they're going to need more than 2 batsmen. But, if a couple of batsmen come off and there's a cameo here or there, then you just never know, do you? I mean, this is T20 cricket. And on this ground in particular, anything's chaseable. It's not enough to tempt me in this 3-1 price, but I could understand why people are tempted.
The 1-4 on Pakistan wouldn't really tempt me that much. No,
not really. I
Too
mean,
short.
I'm not a bettor in dead rubbers. If this game's a live game, then maybe I might chance a team that bats first. But I just can't see how it's a live game. For the life of me, I can't. Even with their reputation of choking, as we went through in the other podcast, I just can't see a situation where South Africa lose to the Netherlands.
You are going to have a bet on the game, though, and that is over 309.5 runs overall. You obviously think the runs might flow here at this Adelaide venue.
Yeah, there's two reasons for this. These two sides played in that New Zealand Tri-Series in the lead up to this tournament. Pakistan won both games, but they both covered this line. That was in Christchurch, not one of the smaller New Zealand grounds. So it was legitimate that the runs were scored in that. The other thing are potentially injury-prone Pakistan bowlers really going to bust a gut in a dead rubber. There's a lot of Pakistan cricket coming up. Pakistan are going to host England in a test series in 3 weeks' time. Now, Pakistan haven't hosted England in a test series for going on 20 years. It's a massive deal, that. So Pakistan will want all of their bowlers fit for that. They'll want to give it all at England in those matches. So anyone who's got a bit of an injury, Shaheen Shah Afridi being a perfect case in question. A, is he going to play? And B, is he going to be balls out to deliver the goods here? I'm not convinced. And even if they are, I'm still not convinced that the pitch suits these quick bowlers. I think this is the most placid pitch of all of the tournament, Steve. This is a day game, as you rightly pointed out. So there's none of that nighttime swing malarkey. And these two teams play each other so often, don't they? They know each other very, very well. This isn't India, Pakistan, who play themselves only in this tournament, in these global tournaments. These two play each other so often. They play each other in the Asia Cup. They play in bilateral series. They play in tri-series. They play so often. There's no hidden sort of issue here. Pakistan players are allowed to play in the Bangladesh Premier League. Bangladesh players play in the Pakistan Super League. There's just no secrets here. And assuming that there's nothing on this game, why won't the batters come out and have a right good go? They've certainly got the square boundaries to do it. And as I say, I'm just not convinced that if it's a dead rubber, that Pakistan, who, let's be fair, can be temperamental at the best of times, don't come steaming in with the ball. I'm just not convinced that they do it. So, yeah, I'm going to follow the trend of that New Zealand series and take the runs here. It's not a particularly high line here at Adelaide. I mean, if you think the other day, Afghanistan nearly chased down 170 or the better part of against a pretty decent Australia attack. And for the life of me, we haven't mentioned it, for the life of me, why they didn't pick Mitchell Starc in that game. I mean, that's just bonkers gone mad. But even so, Afghanistan almost chased that down. That tells me that these two sides can get 155 between them.
Yeah, I tell you one thing about, obviously we know they've got the shorter square boundaries here. There's a lot of wristy batsmen at work here. In Afghanistan, we're quite similar in that respect. And, I suppose it's quite fairly typical of Asian players in general, just the way their pitches. But these square boundaries are going to get peppered in this game, on the floor, in the air. So I think it does make sense, Kev. Over 309 runs, over 309.5 runs at Bet365 for 3 units. We're going to move on to the second game now. Sorry, the third game of the day. There's so many games. This one comes from Melbourne. It's Zimbabwe against India. Tell us what's on the line here.
Well, if we were going by what we think is going to happen, then South Africa will go into this game top of the group. So India basically playing for their opponent in the semi-final, really. India have already qualified, haven't they? So then it comes down to do India want to go to Sydney to play New Zealand, or do India want to go to Adelaide to play England? Obviously, this game's in Melbourne, so they're going to travel whichever way they do it. I don't know if they're particularly going to look at picking their opponents. If you are picking your opponents, I think the Sydney pitch will suit India a hell of a lot more than the Adelaide one. And I think New Zealand are the easier opponents than England. But obviously, sports teams don't always think like that. And the chances are they're going to have to beat them both anyway. So in terms of that, I don't think there's an awful lot on it, unless India are hell-bent on winning the group and taking some momentum into the game. But for me, England in Adelaide is much harder in the semi-finals. That doesn't mean to say they're going to fix it, but it certainly swayed me. It certainly put me right off getting too involved in the match. I'd say that much.
I'm telling you, Melbourne, I'm starting to call this the Manchester of Australia, because there's, and yet again, quite a high chance of rain, 50% nearly. Look, we don't know this forecast, but Melbourne really has not had the greatest of weather recently, has it? So factor that if you are having a bet in the game. Duckworth Lewis could come into effect. You could avoid bets and everything. We do have... I just want to talk about India in general, actually, here, Kev, first, because they have been obviously quite a strong team in this tournament, and their bowling especially has actually caught the eye, probably more than most expected.
Yeah, they're the flip side of Pakistan, aren't they? They wriggled over the line in a game, got absolutely battered by South Africa, to be fair. And, I mean, fall over the line against Bangladesh, that's probably harsh, actually. They bowled well when it mattered. Yes, they were fortunate with the supposed fake fielding. I can never tell if these things are done on purpose, to be quite honest. But either way, they're not the convincing side that many expected them to be, are they? I didn't expect them to be that. I thought Jasprit Bumrah was too big a loss for them to be that. But to be fair, as you just said, they've replaced him nicely. I mean, Arshdeep Singh, probably the find of the tournament, not to us because we knew about him. We're on him as India's top bowler. We're going to cash in on that, whatever happens in this game in the semi-final. And Bhuvneshwar Kumar's bowled really, really well. Was it one of the games he didn't concede a run for 2 overs, did he? I mean, that's just stupid.
It's unbelievable.
It's crazy. And to be fair, Mohammed Shami, he's not even getting a look in, really, is he? And he's a damn good bowler in his own right. So, yeah, no, full credit to them. The only thing I'd say is, the spinners, they're probably not living up to the potential. This is a good chance for them to get into a bit of form, because if they do end up going to Sydney and playing New Zealand, they're definitely going to need their spinners to come to the party. Maybe not so much in Adelaide, because they'll probably only play one of them. But yeah, this is a good chance for their spinners to come in. And if they do, and they go with a sort of 5 fully confident bowlers, then they'll be dangerous, because you look at the top 4, probably the best top 4 right now in the competition.
Zimbabwe have bowled well in this competition as well, haven't they? They've especially looked strong with the ball in their hand, less so with the bat. So could you make a case for them in a match that India maybe wouldn't mind losing potentially at 9-1?
You can definitely make the case for them, because the one thing we've seen in this ground, the Melbourne Cricket Ground, as well as bucket loads of rain, we've actually seen some serious pace and bounce. I mentioned in one of the earlier podcasts, the groundsman is the guy who used to be the groundsman at the Wacker, so he's used to delivering fast, pacey, bouncy pitches, and that's what they're going to get here. And they're the pitches that Zimbabwe have gone well on. They beat Pakistan in Perth. They went well on the sort of quicker pitches in Hobart at the start of the season. The ones that they've struggled on really are the kind of sluggish ones that they've not been able to sort of get on the front foot and really do the business. I mean, obviously, in Adelaide against the Netherlands last time out, they just couldn't get going at all, could they? Maybe that was the pressure of expectation. They were still fighting for a semi-final spot then. They're not now. Maybe now they can show their best cricket. The one concern I would have over Zimbabwe, which has been growing as the tournament's gone on, their batting order. I don't think they know the right one. And this is game 8. If you don't know your best batting order by game 8, then something's gone seriously tits up along the way, hasn't it? And
the strategy as well. I don't like the strategy with the batting. I think they're getting it wrong with the mentality at different times of the innings.
Yeah, I just think the 2 experienced players or the 2 best players, they're too close together in the order. I'd like 1 at 3, 1 at 5, and then if they messed it up at the top, they've got some experience straight away, and then when they've rebuilt, they've got some more experience. As it is, they get into a hole, and then them 2 experienced players are under so much pressure. And as we've seen in this tournament, pressure is just it's not a privilege, Billie Jean King. I can say that much. It's a burden, and yeah, that's not good. You just kind of hope now that they're out the tournament. Someone like Wesley Madavere, or someone who's got the potential to be really, really good, shows that potential. Although, as we're going to find out in a minute, I hope that it's not actually Madavere.
I hope it's not either, because I backed him last match, didn't I? So he's probably written to go over his run line in this game. I've not even looked at it, because I wouldn't even consider him for this game against the Indian opening bowlers, because the one bet for the game is Arshdeep Singh, again over 1.5 wickets. Very unlucky in that last game. It was a winner, but it got voided. I don't know if anyone watching maybe follow the bet and their local bookmaker cashed it, but we actually got 2 wickets from him, but we actually had a void bet, which is ridiculous. But we're going in again, and you watch the rain reduce it by like 1 over now, and but Arshdeep Singh he's been taking wickets for fun in this tournament.
Taking wickets for fun. India played Pakistan here, didn't they, in their first game? And he ripped both their openers out. Babar Azam, Mohammad Rizwan, class acts. I'm not saying that Zimbabwe openers aren't class acts, but they're not of that level, not of that stature. If you look at that last game against the Netherlands, Madiveri played a beautiful cover drive for 4 runs. And then the very next ball, he was done up. There were 2 balls that were going away from him, going away, that were leaving him with the swing, and he was fine with that. And then as soon as they set him up for the in-swinger, he was all at sea. He left a bloody wide open gate, and the ball could have hit any one of the 3 stumps. The target was that exposed. Arshdeep Singh is a serious exponent of swing, as all left-armers in this tournament tend to be, but he seems to be getting more swing than anyone else. This is a night game, so that night swing that we've seen throughout this tournament is in play here. And as I said in the last game, he doesn't just take wickets up front, he takes wickets at the death as well. And Zimbabwe aren't a great deal better at the death, are they? They absolutely fell on their arse against the Netherlands in the last 5 overs in the last game. And they've done that a couple of times. Think Pakistan, they lost 4 wickets for no runs, went seemingly out of nowhere in that game. So they lose wickets in clusters, this lot. And if they lose them when Arshdeep Singh's coming into the crease, he's going to take 1.5. Well, he's going to take 2 wickets, isn't he? More often than not, I would back Arshdeep to take 2 wickets in a game like this. And given that he's fairly new on the scene, Zimbabwe aren't going to face many of these bowlers whatsoever. But there probably isn't an awful lot of analysis yet, because he's fairly new on the scene, international-wise. So he might catch the Zimbabwe batters cold. And the big issue that Zimbabwe have got, not just the swing, but the pace, the bounce. He's got the lot. This fella, and 2 of them will get out to him. I'm pretty confident of that.
Yeah, it does. He's swinging them absolute mile. He just seems in great form, and if they do win the tournament, he's going to be one of the main reasons for it, isn't he? So Arshdeep Singh over 1.5 wickets, 3-unit pick at that's actually a bet 365, but that rounds off the 2 bets for the final 2 matches today. As a reminder, we're also backing over 309 runs in the Pakistan-Bangladesh match, also bet 365. But yeah, we will be back now for the semi-final previews coming up in midweek, and then, of course, the final next weekend. So just 3 more matches left, Kev, in this T20 World Cup. We've got outrights that hopefully we might still cash a few. We were very unlucky with the Sri Lanka one yesterday. But let's hope we get a couple of winners here to round off Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. Some winners for Sunday. A couple of nice semi-finals. The weather, thankfully, is going to play ball. And then, obviously, if Sam Curran can take a couple of hat-tricks, we'll be happy as Larry.
Absolutely, indeed. Right. Cheers, Kev. Take care. And thanks to everyone else. We will see you around next time. Goodbye.